Hey friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to the channel. Doing something a little bit different for this year's SummerSlam. Usually here on WrestleJuice, I take out the old red pen, wherever I have it. It's right here. And I do grading. I grade all the matches there at all the various pay-per-views. But you know what? Lately, me and Larson over at the Friendo Club Wrestling channel, we've been doing our star ratings. And I kind of feel like it's a little bit redundant if I do something over here and I do something over there. So I'm going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about SummerSlam, but we're going to do it in a different way. We're going to react to all the hot takes out there regarding specifically SummerSlam. Let's dive into it. The first one is this Finn Balor tweeting out a picture here of Damian Priest. What a clusterfuck that finish was. I'll be honest, I loved the majority of this match, but this look right here from Damian Priest is exactly how I feel about the finish. I'll be honest with you. Think it made Finn Balor look like a little bit of a dummy. But I thought this is kind of interesting here from Pro Wrestling Finesse, talking about Seth Rollins and how he likes to play the mind games using his ring attire. Of course, we had him wearing his Shield gear against Roman Reigns, him against Cody at Hell in a Cell, where Cody had the busted titty falling off the bone there, how he was wearing Dusty Rhodes' old polka dots, which Dusty, by the way, thought it was a total rib from Vince McMahon, so there's a little extra stank there. And then, of course, Seth wearing his SummerSlam 2016 vest as entrance attire against Finn Balor. Yeah, I was bummed out about the finish. You guys know me. I'm a Finn Balor fan. I love Seth Rollins. I just think that story would have been a lot cooler had Finn Balor won that World Heavyweight title, but nah. Didn't happen. Let's move on. Of course, everybody's talking about the Bloodline. Kind of a divisive finish there for that really long Bloodline match, Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. Not just for the WWE Undisputed Championship, but also for seemingly control of the entire family. That's right. Whoever controls the Ula Fala, the little necklace thing, apparently controls the whole table. They get to be the head of said table. And regardless of what you thought about the match, I certainly felt the finish left a lot to be desired. We're going to get into that with some of these takes. The sight of Jey Uso and like 51,000, I know they said it was 59,000, but it was 51,000. 51,000 plus fans all reacting to Jey Uso was, as WrestleUps here says, a beautiful sight. More takes. Seth Rollins' gold nails said, quoting the general fan sentiment, "The turn made no sense. This story jumped the shark. Roman's streak has gone rotten." Or Roman's steak has gone rotten. And then this Twitter account says, "Are we forgetting that Jay said all this shit to Jimmy before Jimmy got put on the shelf?" And there was a video here of when Jay chose to go against Roman and super kicked him, but he laid out some pretty vicious things. He had some pretty vicious words for Jimmy Uso during that segment, and maybe that's going to be Jimmy's motivation, because Jay made a lot of good points before. I figured it was all a big sword, but maybe Jimmy took that to heart. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think Jimmy's motivation for turning on Jay is going to end up being? I think I predicted this. We'd sort of seen this coming from a mile away. I just was underwhelmed by how it all went down. Let's see what some other people are saying here. This is actually kind of interesting. Prime Godly says, Jey Uso, quoting Jey Uso from this Ariel Helwani interview with the Usos. Jay said, "That's my number one dream of happening. Me versus him at a WrestleMania." This Prime Godly here says, "I'm so happy for both of them. Seriously, I hope this ends up being the main event for WrestleMania 40. Night one." I'll be kind of surprised if it ends up being a WrestleMania thing, because that's so far away. They could revisit it by then, but this seemingly is going to be happening at Payback. It's an appropriately titled pay-per-view, and I honestly feel like Jay versus Jimmy main eventing a pay-per-view, that could totally happen. It's obviously that the Bloodline is the A story, and I could definitely see that happening. I don't know how they would extend this particular feud all the way out to WrestleMania, but I guess anything's possible. I mean, Bloodline's been going for 3 years now, and Paul Heyman during the press conference said that they're just getting started, that they're just wrapping up like the third inning. So each inning essentially, according to Paul Heyman, would be about a year which means that Roman Reigns is totally going to break Bruno's record. That's right. He's going to be champion for another 6 years. Moving on. Paul Heyman's. Yeah, here we go. There we go. That was what I was referring to. Roman Reigns, he's going to end up being champion for 10 years, guys. Sorry. I hate to break it to you, but that's according to Paul Heyman. Kosk 151 says, look, I don't know if I'm in the majority and minority, but I don't get this. Shocking doesn't equal good, and this makes no sense storyline wise. Maybe they explain it well, but I don't see how they can make this make sense. It wasn't that long ago that Jimmy was the guy that turned on Roman Reigns and brought Jay along with him, and Jay bought into it. So why is now Jimmy turning back on Jay? I personally do think that they're going to deliver some good promos explaining exactly what happens here. When we still have Solo Sikoa, who got speared inadvertently by Roman Reigns. He ain't happy about that. There's still a lot of moving pieces in the Bloodline. It's just that match was really long, and Bloodline matches generally just have like absolutely terrific plot twists and story turns and performances. And I didn't really see that here towards the finish of this one. More Bloodline from the Great One on YouTube. Says the reaction on Twitter is exactly why WWE did this. You're not supposed to like it. He says he called it. It was obvious the moment Jay started focusing on the title and becoming the tribal chief, especially with Roman saying Jimmy was supposed to be the one originally. Maybe Jimmy's thinking, hey, maybe he'll, maybe if I do this, Roman will anoint me. Maybe this is Jimmy's way of getting Jay out of the picture so he could be groomed to be the tribal chief. I guess this could last 10 years. Jeez, that's some layered storytelling right there. Super Chris says Jimmy Uso has always made Jay loose to Roman Reigns. They throw up 3 clips here. One, obviously, from SummerSlam, and then 2 from back in 2020 when Jimmy was being choked out by Roman and Jay had to quit the I Quit match on his behalf. And then the other one, the Clash of Champions one also. Maybe that was a Clash of Champions. I don't know. There was another instance where Jimmy made Jay lose. So way to go, Jimmy. My goodness gracious. Let's see here. Moving on to Cody Brock, which I thought was, man, that was a hard-hitting match. Brock really beat the shit out of Cody Rhodes last night. Cody Rhodes ended up winning with a couple of crossroads. Maybe it had something to do with Brock Lesnar's shorts just falling apart. I don't know. Anyways, afterwards, Brock Lesnar raised Cody's hand, gave him a lot of appreciation. Get the tables here. A friend over at Going In Raw says one of the best moments from SummerSlam last night, class act from Brock Lesnar, and from Gorilla Position here, saying, according to Triple H in the post-show, the little press conference they do, this display of respect from Brock Lesnar to Cody Rhodes was totally unplanned and a holy shit moment backstage. One of the best to ever do it. Unexpectedly giving flowers to WWE's new poster boy. Perfect. I love this moment. I love it even more knowing that that this was not planned. This was not something they were like, hey, can you do this? Brock did this for Cody, and you got to love that, man. Brock Lesnar giving back, setting the future up. That's really good stuff. That's really good stuff. I like that. Let's move on to the first match of the night. It was Logan Paul versus Ricochet. I loved on the go home, heading into SummerSlam, them introducing the fact in real life that Samantha Irvin is the girlfriend of Ricochet, and Logan Paul adding that little bit of extra stank to it, saying, if I win, Ricochet, your girl's going to have to announce my name as winner, and them cutting to Samantha during the actual pay-per-view and her being pretty upset, especially when Logan Paul busted out the brass knucks and whacked Ricochet and got that win. I'll be honest, I liked that match. I thought it was a good match, and I liked the finish there with the cheating win. I thought it was good. I thought it protected Ricochet, and hopefully WWE will start to push him a little bit more because I thought he did good in this feud here. WWE on Fox saying, we feel your pain, Samantha. All right, let's move on to the Women's Championship match, a triple threat match. Bianca Belair. This is great here from LA Nightingale, who's got an EO Sky avatar, says, this is still so surreal to me. From her music hitting to a cash in and seeing the pop for Dakota 2. This was perfect as it got the whole night. The best moment of SummerSlam, hands down. I keep watching it on repeat. I agree. I thought Io Sky cashing in after what I thought was a really terrific match. The triple threat match between Bianca, Asuka, and and Charlotte Flair. Bianca getting that little taste of the title again at SummerSlam. And I like this next one that I got here. Bianca Belair's SummerSlam history. 2021 gets squashed in 26 seconds for her title. 2022 gets her victory cut short by Damage Control. 2023 gets cashed in on. Let that poor woman breathe, please. Yeah, man. I do. Look, man, my thing about Bianca Belair is that I think any babyface is best when they're facing adversity, when they get a little taste of the success, and then they have to go back to chasing it. When you always have the pressure being put on the babyface, man, I think that's some good fertile ground for storytelling. Plus, nobody's going to complain about Io Sky getting that cash in. But yeah, Bianca Belair, a rough couple of SummerSlams for her. Let's move on to Gunther Drew. I thought this match was all right, man. I thought it was not quite at the level of the Sheamus Gunther or even the triple threat at WrestleMania. And honestly, it has more to do with Drew McIntyre, because I don't know where this guy is coming from. He wasn't even there in the go-home. Most of the feud dealt more with Matt Riddle than with Drew McIntyre. He just sort of seems like he's floating around not knowing exactly what's going to happen with him. But this is an interesting stat. Wrestle Features says Gunther is set to hit 500 days in WWE without being pinned or submitted. This run is better than everything else. But here's a good point from there is a digital exclusive where they try to catch up with Drew McIntyre. He was just quiet, stomping off. And here Sam Rhodes Jade Era says that heel turn has to be coming now. I'd like to think so. I think that would be an obvious next good step for Seth Rollins. For Drew McIntyre maybe to approach Seth and be like, hey, man, I want to be a champion in front of people. Can I get a title shot? Maybe Seth will be like, look, dude, you just lost for the Intercontinental Championship. Why should you get a match with me? Drew gets pissed off, destroys Seth Rollins, turns into a bad guy because maybe he realizes, hey, in order for me to find success now, I got to be a bad guy. I got to destroy people. I don't know. Let's move on to one of the matches that really didn't resonate with a lot of people last night. Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler. This Twitter account here says Ronda and Shayna had, quote, issues with WWE Creative over the specific rules for their MMA-style bout. That's coming from Dave Meltzer. Apparently there was some sort of issues with that. And I'll be honest with you, when you have only 7.5 minutes and you've only had a build for like 3 or 4 weeks and you're trying to do something different that 9 times out of 10 doesn't really work in the pro wrestling world anyways. When you introduce MMA elements, you try to change up a pro wrestling match to be like a fake actual MMA fight. It rarely works. It does not work that well. It's one thing to have a character come from an MMA background and adapt to pro wrestling, but then to do an MMA style MMA rules match, I don't know. It's a tall task. And I thought there were elements of that match that I thought were pretty cool, but by and large, it just sort of fell flat. They didn't give it a lot of time for the match or the build. And so I can understand why that didn't exactly come together. And plus, on top of that, maybe there were some issues backstage with how they wanted the match presented versus what WWE Creative wanted. Let's talk about Slim Jims. I'm talking about the Slim Jim Battle Royal. This person pointing out, Russ Goat pointing out that you see there at the front, you got Austin Theory right there with his United States Championship, getting the jobber entrance at the Slim Jim Battle Royal. I think it was only The Miz and LA Knight, who got the actual entrances. But look at all these guys getting the jobber entrance, including the United States Champion, which I don't know why he was in that thing, but he got taken out of it by Santos Escobar. So obviously Santos is going to lose in their SmackDown match. Speaking of LA Knight, WrestleOb says LA Knight winning the Battle Royal was WWE's most liked tweet/post. Look, man, once everybody else starts referring it to as X, I might. It's Twitter. They're tweets. Says LA Knight winning the Battle Royal was WWE's most liked tweet from the entirety of SummerSlam last night. Over 43,000 and counting in under 24 hours. Yeah. That's cool. That's pretty interesting. I like that. Also, LA Knight saying this from the Yeah movement. I believe in me. That's why I got here. I never asked for anyone to cheer me. Nobody gave me anything. I went out and took it. I'm going to keep being me. I'm just getting started. Here's the one thing about LA Knight that we got to be careful about, though. They're starting to babyface him up. He did the thing in his promo on SmackDown on Friday where he put over the accomplishments of his competitor, of Sheamus. Said Sheamus has done a lot of good things. No. Don't do that. Just be a dick. That's why people loved you in the first place, is because you're an asshole. Don't start being a good guy. Don't start putting people over. Call them dummies. Call them incels. Don't start calling them men. That's the LA Knight that I want. That's the LA Knight that's popular. Don't hinder LA Knight. And then we'll end on this one from Ben. Wrestling fans, when something that hasn't been explained to them yet doesn't make sense. Well, you know what? And it's video of Roddy throwing around a bunch of shit. Yeah, man. You know what? We got to wait and see the Bloodline story. SummerSlam wasn't exactly the most beloved premium live event. I saw a lot of people who did like it. And if you did, that's great. Leave it in the comments below. Let me know. If you hated it, let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button, the subscribe button. But you know what? Maybe it'll be a jumping point for various stories coming out of SummerSlam. Maybe that'll be the deal. I don't know. Anyways, check out this video over here. It's not from WrestleJuice. It's from over at Friendo Club. You can get my star ratings from SummerSlam. Also, Larson's star ratings. Go check it out. And yeah, like I said, man, hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up. Appreciate it.